It took me a long time to drive a Mini. For years, Dad was always saying, like, you've raced quite a few things now, but you've not raced everything until you raced a Mini. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, Dad, single seaters me, that's it. He goes, no, you have got to race a Mini. I love it. It's me and Dad time to go racing. That's what it's all about. So I first started racing in 1990 in karts. Racing's obviously been in the family with my dad racing since the early 60s. And for me, racing wasn't really important. It was all about fishing. Bit of the old steady on Wilson. So when Dad would go racing, I'd always go fishing, and Dad would get back from a race and tell me how he got on, and I was like, well, yeah, I caught a 6-pound carp today. You know, that was all about the fishing. Yeah, just loads of Mini history, really.
Yeah, plenty of it there.
A couple of Dad's trophies from pre-war. A couple of mine. A couple of them. So Dad's raced Minis all his life, and that's obviously where the seed was sown very early on after the fishing career.
We used to go as a family, which is always what I wanted to do. You know, the kids were always involved.
I was always very good at polishing, as you can see here, cleaning, nothing mechanical, tyre pressures, you know, sometimes.
When I first bought Mini 7, it was just a passion. I went to brands, saw it, and thought, I've got to be doing this. And it's something that I thoroughly enjoyed then and still do now, you know. So, but Mini 7, if you think about it, it's gone on for 60 years, and it's still now as popular as what it was back in the day.
And that's when the sort of colour scheme of the blues and the whites.
That's when it started to evolve.
It?
And funny enough, the number came from there as well.
56.
Which, yeah. But how this evolved was, I saw the Williams F1. Who would have thought that my son had been driving one? You know, a few years' time. And that's where the blue-green, white, blue-green came from. That was my first win at Silverstone.
Was it?
Yeah. So, red, white and blue, yep.
My neighbour bought a kart, and I went to see it, looked at it, smelt it, because race cars, karts, everything have got that smell. And I remember so clearly, I went back home and said to Dad, oh, they've got a kart. And he was like, oh, really? Yeah. And I was like, they're going testing tomorrow. Can we go? He goes, no, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing that. And we went. When I turned up at the paddock, the sound, again, the smell and the action of it all, sold. So I just like dribbled all day looking at all these different karts, and then Monday morning I remember writing the advert out for my fishing gear. All went on this advert, put it in the Crawley Observer, sold the whole lot. So that was the start of it all, really. Me karting there, with Dad did this really cool van when we were sponsored by Q8 Oils. I think they gave us in 1993 probably £1.2 million for our karting budget.
Yeah,
it's
something
quite
like
a good
that.
deal. Formula First, me with her again. Now a little team, we ran in Formula First for Chris Finch and Richard Dunwoody, the jockey. Yeah. The job part of trying to make a living out of racing was always, you know, burning there. You know, I wanted to do that. You know, I did a paper round until I was 21 years old, so that career just sort of ended. But really, it was standing. I remember it quite clearly now. Standing at the Paddock Hill Bend at Brands Hatch, watching the Winter Series, and there was a radical race going on, 2-driver enduro, and Dad just went, "This is what you need to be doing. Look at them. They sounded so good." That drug thing again, and they looked proper. So I took one of my customers to do a test at Mallory Park. They did a sales day. I said, look, let's go and have a go. I'll just take my gear just in case. And Nelly went, oh, do you want to have a quick go? Oh my God, like sequential box, 1300 Suzuki Hayabusa engine, aero, mega, and it was starting to dry. So I went and had a go, and yeah, fell in love, like said to Nick Dove, you need to buy one of these. He actually bought one in the end and then ended up running Radical. And so I literally, like a week after, Phil Abbott phoned me up, said, do you want to come to Donington and have a conversation? And I did, and I was there to coach their customers, do their testing, and it was, you know, a massive break that was, for about 6 years. And then the Acela back to me. So the Acela was quite a cool car. First proper historic race at Silverstone Classic. So real good friends of mine, Motorsport, ran that car. Mike and the other guys there. It was wicked. That was such a good race with the T70s. Sharing with Ian Bankhurst, it went into the nights. It's when the Silverstone Classic finished at, in the evening on Saturday. It was really cool, lovely car that, and that's the gearbox that I learned before jumping in an F1, so that's cool. And after Silverstone Classic, my mate Phil Hall said, we've just bought an Arrows A3, and his friend Ian Simmons bought a Tyrrell 012. Said apparently the gearboxes are quite tricky. Have you experienced those gearboxes? And I was like, actually, yeah, the Acela was in at the weekend, very similar gearbox. Very important to get the right gear because it costs you a fortune if it's wrong. And that was it. So I found myself at Guadix, strapped in a Tyrrell 012. And I remember, yeah, that's Alboretto's car. It's got good history. And I remember pulling out the pit lane, looking at the wheels, and it's like, Jesus Christ, you see the lettering like it did, and back in the day on TV as it's spinning around. And that was it. So now, it's been a long time, just over 10 years, and 43 Formula One cars later. It took me a long, long time to drive a Mini, and the first Mini I drove was Colin Peacock's Mini Miglia. So for years, going back, Dad was always saying, you've raced quite a few things now, but you've not raced everything until you've raced a Miglia. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, Dad, single-seaters me, that's it. Because no, you have got to race a Miglia. So when I tested Colin Peacock's Miglia, I was like, here we go again, that's it, done. I need to try and get one of those. And very luckily, we did, through a friend of mine who basically put half of the money together. And we bought Bill Solis's car. And the dream was, if I ever got a Miglia, it'd have to be in Dad's livery, because that's what I wanted. And that's what we see here now. So I love it. I don't use it much, but it's me and Dad time to go racing.
Then I'd got this camper van, and Nicholas had a camper van for a few meetings after that. And it was just the same as it was back in the 70s. The kids are out, and you think, yeah, that's motorsport.
So we go, and Claire, and then friends come along to help out. That's what it's all about. And I remember the first time I drove the car again, it was like, yeah, he's right. And then when I did the first race, I got well and truly duffed up. It's like, yeah, he's right again. It's the most competitive series I'm in. It's bumper to bumper, really close, sometimes a bit too close. But it's great fun, the paddock's good, and they're just fast. People think, oh, you don't have to brake much, but trust me, you do. Goodwood, I love. For years I've been going there. So when I wasn't driving, Dad and I would go and see my nan, who didn't live too far from there. And there was a field we used to go to and just, teach me to drive in the field a little bit and then watch track day or two. So that was really cool. Then I started working there for Peter Gethin driving courses, probably like 95 now. I tried to be an instructor at Brands Hatch, but they didn't want to know me. So Peter, I contacted him, Peter went, yeah, come with me. And, he instruct there, which was brilliant fun. And I've done so many laps round there, but it's the whole, the atmosphere of the place. And my first ever race, I always wanted to get a race there, but it's difficult to race at Goodwood unless you're a car owner. But my first ever race was in Dad's FIA Mini.
You were driving it with
Richard Atwood.
Yeah, and unfortunately the engine let go in qualifying.
Game over. We tried to rent an engine, couldn't afford that. So that was it, the dream had finished to race there. And then luckily I got offered a drive in Phil Hall's Lola T70 Spider in 2015, so I had to wait another 6 years, but it was well worth the wait. So that driving the T70 at Goodwood came about because Phil wanted the car there, and there's a good, Can-Am race there, and Phil Hall said, oh, can you come to Donington and have a go in it, see what you think. Did the tests, it went really well, And then I remember I was on the M1 driving back thinking, Jesus Christ, that thing's fast. Round Goodwood, that's going to be a rocket. I'm not so sure about this. Phone goes, Phil, do you want to race it at Goodwood? It's like, yep, done. So we turned up at Goodwood and I went out for qualifying. I thought, just go out easy, you know, it's fast, especially in that car. It's like 170 down the Lavant Straight and pole position. So, whoa, that's pretty quick.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the green car over your shoulder.
For a long time, I've been wanting an FIA Mini, and I've bored so many people about it. All the time I'm talking to Nick Swift saying, Nick, he's going, yeah, you're boring, move on. So I've been keeping my eye out for something. My great friend who passed away a couple of years ago would be laughing his head off because he left me some money to buy something special. So I've done it. I've bought a Historic Mini. You know, I wanted it like Dad's, so it's very similar colour to that. I think we're going to go for the stripe across the bonnet. So yeah, I've never been a car owner at Goodwood, and this is the only way I could get into something that's going to give us a lot of fun. Obviously, the family history of Minis all just tick the right boxes. I want to be at the members meeting, I want to be at the revival. It's going to be powered by Swift Tune. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having another great battle with Nick at Goodwood, but hopefully some other races as well, because he's got a motorhome, I've got a camper van. We're going to have a nice weekend away and have some proper racing. And that will be like the Dad and Lad Goes Racing again.
Me and my sister, me with hair. I used to have lots of hair.
No, that's another story.
Dad used to get so pissed. Dad, will you go to bed?